Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Meta Report this week. I'm only joined by Liam. How are we,
Yeah,
Liam?
sorry to disappoint everyone. I'm good. Yeah, excellent.
How's the weather been?
Well, generally good. However, for the one event that I went to this weekend, which was I'm forgetting it now.
Sheffield?
No, Sheffield. Yes, had Cardiff in my head for some reason. Yes, Sheffield. To travel there from Manchester, we have to go along like a winding path. I think it's called like Snake Path, um, was generally fine on the way there, but on the way back it was both foggy and very dark. So it was a bit of an anxious one.
Yeah.
Luckily I wasn't driving, so not my problem. Whatever happens, happens. So, but yeah,
Not my issue.
generally was good. Well, I mean, it would be, but it was fine.
Right. We'll just recap last week's wins of week 3. So we saw obviously Florian doing really well. We obviously then eventually saw that Florian would allow. So then this week might be a bit interesting to see if the sort of decks that probably used to suffer into Florian have done well. Like I think KOs generally should be a bit better, and then there may be the decks that have a good matchup into Florian maybe are doing worse. Like Gravy and historically Verdance as well was quite good into Florian.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, Florian is one of those decks that definitely keeps down more of like the middling decks. Anything that's trying to do like fair things, it just does it better than them. Like thinking the victors, so the guardians of the world, the brutes in a way, the warriors definitely. Maybe outside of Fang, which is why he kind of rose to prominence. But yeah, it does seem like what you would expect would be kind of like a shift towards those kind of decks and kind of more seeing, I guess, more of a wider pool of heroes seeing play.
Yeah. Okay. So week 4, kind of a flatter thing, but kind of like you're saying, like we've got more. I think we've got more heroes in that kind of 10 to 5 range of kind of like Gravy Bones still holding on. Clearly, hearing us complain about him last week and going back up to 10 wins, but yeah, like we say, like KO Victor, Pallades with the new fatigue deck as well, and Kasai, like all in that more than 5 range, which were decks that kind of generally were kind of struggled into Florian and kind of either the end game or the value-esque nature of kind of Grasp plus Reaping Blade, which was to some people bannable. But
yeah, I mean, like kind of in a weird roundabout way, Verdance has ended up kind of like, I guess, taking over the mantle of the Earth hero, which I guess makes sense because they both have a similar spread. And the only main difference, I think, is the Mario matchup, which, as you can see here, is kind of had a big shift as Mario's kind of rose to second place. And since they've always been there, they're always a good deck, always very strong. But I think Florian was one of the main reasons that you would maybe consider not playing Mario in this current environment. So him going means that all the Mario players have just been, coming out in droves, it seems. And then for some reason, in a paradoxical sense, I guess Gravy is also come up, but I also suppose that also is a good indication of the way that the meta moves with it being having a good matchup into the Verdances and the Marios and KOs, which are also quite common generally, I think.
Yeah. I can't understand why you'd want to be playing Gravy at the moment, but apparently.
Well, I mean, apparently people do well and they just can't stop. I do think that there is something there. It's just that it takes a bit longer to get to that right golden ratio because everything obviously feels much worse than it did in terms of the old consistency or the old plan of Gravy in that consistency sense. I think Verdance, in a similar sense, has risen after with a lot of people, naysaying her and saying that she's kind of rubbish at the moment. But clearly, the stats would indicate otherwise. So there must be something there, even if it's not really as apparent to see.
Yeah, and I think just the last point, there is some hilarious one-offs at the bottom. There is a liar. The week after Liam claimed the first LL points, so someone else either took the same deck or maybe the aggro deck to a win. Max, who I'll call out Declan Patrick, the Scottish correspondent. He loves Max when he's not playing Huntsman at the moment. And
he didn't get the win though.
He didn't know. No, he's very gutted about that. and and what is becoming the meta report staple that is Subaltern, Breaker of Dawn, somehow getting another win.
Well, I think in a way, if you point towards the meta and you look at the number 7 wins played, that may be an indication of perhaps why you would play Bolton. I know the fatigue deck has risen in prominence after the 2 calling top 8s, and obviously the 2 players that did so had like a big have had a big kind of outward showing in their support of it and being very open with their ideas about the deck. I think they were saying that that's the only warrior that they're actually worried about, which I guess makes sense in a way. So clearly, Bolton next best deck, Compendium S tier hero.
Yeah, apparently.
Is that what we're gonna see? Yeah, I'm ready for it.
We didn't have any callings this week, but there was 2 smaller battle hardens. One in Portland and one in. Don't even ask me where, or to pronounce
Charleroi?
Charleroi, yeah. I don't even know where that is, to be fair. Good meta reporting. But anyway,
it's in Belgium. If that helps.
Okay, there we go. That makes sense. Less of a meta spread, obviously, because we don't get
true British meta report.
Yeah. As I wasn't gonna count up all the heroes on the FabTCG website, but I thought we might just quickly cover. I did get the top 8, and we could quickly talk through that. The Portland one was won by friend of the team, Michael Feng on Gravy.
Yeah. Also, avid watcher of the meta report. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
You're our American correspondent.
He's been complaining about Gravy constantly, probably for the last 2 months, about how horrible it is. Yet he still takes it to events and then wins, and then says this deck was terrible. But yeah, as he says in his tweet, he said that he got quite lucky in the finals. Jude missed on a Bare Fangs by flipping Blood Rush in KO, which is the demise of the current KO deck, is that you only have
Gravy unlucky, but Brute even more unlucky.
Yeah.
So, you know.
The top 8 spread was 2 Gravy, 2 KO, 1 Vinset, 1 Jarl.
Very nice.
Which were the outliers, and then a Syndra and a Verdance, which aren't too unexpected. The 2 KO kind of alludes back to my point earlier that I think KO is now kind of getting to the point where your Florian matchup wasn't amazing. Some people believe that there was a way to get around it with like stuff like Tear Limb from Limb to like stack damage on turns and stuff.
Yeah,
but I think generally the consistency into that matchup wasn't good enough. So now, a last hurrah probably before he LLs, probably at the start of ProQuest season. So get out and play KO, I think, is probably the
well, especially because they hit the 1.5 threshold going into start of February.
Yeah.
So I think then they'll really start to see those numbers piling up. It's already basically there. So.
I can't really see it surviving past probably. Well, I say the first week of PQ season. We have Sage for the first 2 weeks of PQ season, so it'll be the CC portion.
So I guess more towards the end.
Of PQ season, but yeah, and then Battlehunt Charleroi was won by another friend of ours, Paul Van Gisel, and
big up Paul.
Paul the Goat. He just can't stop winning at the moment. He's been doing really well.
He's having an incredible run.
Obviously, recently won Calling Valencia on Gravy. He, unlike Michael, gave up on Gravy because he thinks it's terrible. And I think he didn't get too much time to work on a deck before this event. So he took Mario, and then they did pretty well for him. But then
served them well.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing about this Battle Harden was the contrast in the top 8 was for Mario, whereas the one in the US didn't have any Mario in the top 8. So
that's true, actually. Yeah, I kind of forgot.
You kind of like it's the same with the kind of the RTM results. It's kind of like everyone knows Mario's good, but then he's never been that. I think maybe did one of the weeks he had the most wins, but like he's like always this second and third deck. Like everyone knows he's good. He's there. We kind of forget about him, and then he like doesn't top 8 an event. You're like, wait a minute, Yeah. So yeah, to see 4 is kind of like what. Yeah, like clearly, maybe
Yeah,
it's
I
the lack of
mean,
Florian. Maybe some they all had kind of a. You can get gem lottery and do.
or maybe it's the the ease of access with this fantastic MetaFi guide made
Oh,
by our own Kashi
yeah.
and Jacob Clemons.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't
So,
stopped working on that deck. They've been updating it
yeah,
every time, kind of the meta changes and stuff. So if you love to play Assassin, there is nothing better than
well, as
go.
most people do. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're either an assassin player or you're an illusionist player, and if you're neither of them, you're a guardian player. It's like there's that triangle in a way. So I think you fit into one of those categories, and I
yeah.
imagine there's some amount of give and take between them, but it is basically like a triangular spectrum. So
The other 4 in the top 8 was Prism, Vents, Syndra, and Gravy. So another spattering of heroes that kind of we have been doing well generally across RTN season. So it's kind of no outliers there, unlike the Vin set of. But I think Vin set is on the rise. I'll say.
yeah, definitely one to look out for, especially with new pen support potentially. I think that's one that just requires a couple of both like um, time for people to play the deck because it isn't the easiest deck to play, and also just like maybe 1 or 2 more cards, which is like a classic bad shadow hero idiom, really, isn't it? At this point, with Levire in a similar sense,
Just
one more
add
card and it's pushed.
a few more expansion slots. Surely we'll get there. Another
Yeah,
Gust
one
wave,
more
and
blue
Katsu
six. Yeah,
will let off.
100%.
Right. Let's move on to the UK. So Cardiff, a great scene that's been developing there, right? Kind of symbiotically with Bristol. I think a lot of the Bristol players went to Cardiff as well as the Cardiff players went to Bristol. So a
You can tell by the brute numbers.
yes, good showing by 31 players, 4 KO,
Yeah,
but then obviously 4 Rhinar as well. Straight off
yeah.
the back of I think the local legend of Swingers Biggest doing well locally and probably inspiring some people to
And a
pick up the
Levire
deck.
as well, yeah.
Yeah,
Certainly true.
I heard some mutterings that quite a few of the players locally had qualified, so
Yeah. They all
they
just
all
brought
they all
brutes.
bought whatever they wanted. And obviously the
Oh yeah,
Teklo
Teklo.
Vossen, I think the
Yeah.
first Teklo Vossen of the whole season in the UK.
Oh,
I
true.
100% imagine this was Lane, the judge for Bristol. She
Mm.
actually gets to play the game, and she plays Teklo, I think, exclusively. So it's good to see her to actually get to play when she wasn't judging.
Yeah.
What are you feeling about this
I mean,
room with that much
I mean,
brute?
yeah, outlier for sure. I say outlier. It hit the quota of 4 KO. Every event in the UK
Yep,
seems to hit that. I
that's
think
what
we
we
maybe
said
had
last
one
week,
that's
wasn't
been
it?
3. Yeah, I mean, it's not a UK event without 4 KOs. Mario number's quite low. I think that's the main thing. Verdant's number's consistently low in the UK generally. I think even 2 is a surprise for me, but Acilio's makes sense. Rhinar, I think, is the real outlier in the upwards trend. And obviously that has some bias based on the area. So like this makes sense to me as far as it goes. Same with the gravies, only 1 gravy. It seems we're seeing like 1 to 3 quite consistently. More so in the 1 to 2 range in most places. So yeah.
Okay.
I think actually, I guess the only other thing I would notice is the 2 Pleiades. I think a lot of people were expecting an uptick of that after the showing it had. Whether or not it's fatigue, it's more likely the fatigue deck. And yeah, I think that's like the only real like interesting bits for me.
Yeah. Or should we look at the top 8? But good showing of decks here. But yeah, 4 brutes converting, 3 out of the 4K making it to top 8, and then the lone Rhino of George Keys on. But for 4 brutes to get to top 8 is good. I wouldn't say that there was.
Yeah.
It wasn't. There wasn't like there was 4 prisms or there was a lot of buys in the room. It looked like a very
Yeah,
varied meta. So
a lot of the room was like kind of fine for them. Like Mario's an okay matchup. The fatigue decks, like the Pleiades and the Goliath, I think are some of the better. Like that's I would rather be a brute playing those decks than maybe some of the other decks that I have available, like a Mario, for example. Cilia also generally a good matchup for you. So yeah, I think it's definitely like a coin flip really on who you're playing. You might probably a decent amount of mirrors as well, to be honest, with the amount of brutes that there were.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Do you know this? What happened at this event?
I have no idea. So
okay, good. Well, we can get you to guess later.
Yeah, I guess you'll be happy to know. I basically know none of the events this week, except specifically the one I was at, and I only just about know that one. So, if my memory remembers. Well, I would say that at least for the first one, it depends on the pilot skill. But considering the first Nate seed, I would give it to Steve on live, because I do think that matchup can go badly if the KO rolls poorly on their draw and discards. I think if they don't resolve all of their blood rushes well, or like hit limb for limb, stuff like that, it can be bad, especially because like things like Reckless don't have as much value in this matchup as they do in the other blocky decks, because you don't actually block. It's a lot of prevention, which is assuming it's the fatigue deck, which would be my guess. The other Kit versus Rye. Kit, I know them generally as being a kind of a Pleiades player. I think they were playing Pleiades Fatigue before it was cool. I think I played against them in the Edinburgh Battle Hardened. Yeah, so I think it's meant to be very good for Pleiades, from my experience. I don't know if Kit's deck is similar to their one at all, the American one, but I would give it to them. In the Ryan or KO matchup, KO should be winning in theory. It depends on the version of KO. I don't know if that necessarily matters, in the sense that like I just think that Claw's Rhino is really bad, so I don't think George will be playing that. I imagine he's been pilled by James and playing the Miak. And considering George's second, I'm going to give it to him, because he's playing Rhino and it's much cooler than KO. I hate KO. And in a similar sense, I will give it to Robert over Jack, unfortunately, because I think that KO should just be Cilia on average. It's not it's not 100%, but it is like favored, and they get to go first, and they get to probably leak damage and have an arsenal, which I think it makes things much harder for the Cilia.
Okay, we'll look at top four. You got 50% right, but I also have stories for both of the ones you got wrong, because they're both people that I used to play locally with. Robert Catling, good friend. He quoted saying that this was the worst he's ever drawn ever in a Flesh and Blood game ever. I think he used ever 4 times in one sentence.
Do you think it was a bad game then?
He wasn't very happy, and he proceeded to say that he wasn't going to play any more Flesh and Blood for a long time.
Okay. One of those games that really makes you take a break.
I think he's probably calmed down now, because he does love the game and he loves playing. And I was surprised he wasn't playing Rhinar, to be honest, because he is a Rhinar stan as well. But I think he was very focused on trying to qualify for nationals, and I think he's got enough wins now, so
he'll get wins.
But Ryan is a funny one, because concurrently to this event, which we'll cover later, I don't top 8, so it doesn't really matter. But I was playing Pleiades at Dice Cup, and I was trying to get the meta off of Jonathan, and I got tapped by Rich Carr, and he said, "Ben, look at your phone. Now, Ryan's having a meltdown. Ryan's against Pleiades, the top 8. What does he do?" I was like, okay. And then I messaged him, because I had a game in Swiss against Noah Hicks, which is good. Mario, and I learned a lot in that matchup. And I was like, all right, this is what he did against me, and it worked quite well. And then he apparently
he managed to convert that well into the top 8.
Which he was very proud about. So we're on to the semis. Apparently the Steve Ryan matchup was a rematch of Swiss, where Steve won.
I do think that Liaf should beat Mario. I mean, that match was very good for Liaf. I think it's one of the main reasons to play the fatigue deck, is that your Mario match was very good. So I would give it to the Liaf deck.
Okay.
I would also give it to the Rhinar because I think Rhinar should crush the Acilio in a similar sense to KO, but even worse for Acilio in some aspects. And they get to go first, I think, so they probably they could leak up to 12 damage to one if the hand permits. So yeah.
Well, Ryan won the rematch.
Nice.
Which he was very happy about. And Ryan and Rhinar does beat Acilio.
Well, this looks like my finals living round.
Mm-hmm.
I lost this myself. However, unlike me, I believe George is probably luckier than I am, and therefore will come out on top. Especially if they get to go first. Once again, getting to choose on Rhino is very powerful.
Yeah, it's very good,
especially against decks that don't have a lot of armor, because you get to like translate that damage later on into the game very much or much easier. So
yeah. George got there.
Another Rhino win.
Good. Another Rhino win for the books of the UK. It's good to see, because I don't know if he took a break from the game or I just haven't been in touch with him playing, but like he was a name that was very prominent when I started playing the game in the UK.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know if he took a break or not, but it's great to see him back. And obviously now, I think because it's the first, when I was entering him into the spreadsheet, I think it's his only event that he's played. So
okay, well straight in there.
It's great to see him qualify for Nats and also just get a cheeky win as well. It's
cheeky gold foil for troubles. Yeah,
the gold foil was not a great one. It was Galvanic Bender.
Yeah, maybe if we had High Octane. Maybe if High Octane was there.
Yeah, not too sure about that one, but
maybe one day again.
Maybe Max one day.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the next event in the UK, which was Darksphere. We had 44 players, so this is the first of the 2 Darksphere events. We've got another one next week.
Yes, one.
As Mathil mentioned in another episode, Darksphere got offered 2 events, not instead of another store, but just as a bonus for being a patron of running the game for so long, and LSS wanted to reward that in the capacity of running multiple events, so that they I think they probably ran an armory every week since the game's inception or something ridiculous that. So it's one it was not taken sourly. 8 Mario.
Insane. I think that's the biggest number we've seen of a hero. At all. Makes sense that it's Mario. They've also under KO'd in this event. Only 3 KOs.
I can't believe it. Couldn't hit the quota.
I mean, 3 is okay. 3 is it's 3 to 4, but 4 is the number. We've had some 5, so it averages out. 4 Syndra's interesting. It seems like I guess that I find, from what I can tell, London is either big fatigue country or very aggro country. A lot of Dios, a lot of Syndras, a lot of Acilio. Fang you see there. But I do think is still the best warrior as far as warriors go, because he's the least warrior really. He kind of meshes with Mario, and there being like the closest thing to a warrior while not actually being a warrior, which is nice. And
the usual quota of 1 Verdance, of course.
Yeah. 2 Jarls, 2 Valdas, 2 Pleiades, the Guardians. Pleiades makes sense. Valda's interesting. And Jarl, if it I would guess would be like a Jason Rolfe, if I was to guess a Guardian for him to play. But also I feel like I do know that he did play Pleiades actually this time. Yeah. So I wonder who he's managed to get to play Jarl instead.
Well, if we look at the top 8, it will tell you. Number 1 out of Swiss, Jack Bradbury. So he's a player from, I don't know if he lives in Ipswich, but his local is Ipswich, Langdon Games, and he's a good guy to chat to about the game there. And he, for what it's worth, wasn't a fatigue Jarl. He was playing mid-range aggro, hit you with Oakermold.
Giga Chad Jarl.
Yeah, very much Giga Chad Jarl.
Nice. Awesome. That's very cool.
And then we also see 2 Acilio making it, which is quite good to see.
Yeah, 7 heroes in this top 8. And then, of course, you end up playing the mirror It's the only two.
What a banger!
Of the heroes, this is the one I would not want to play the mirror of the most, because it is the one of the most boring mirrors ever. You're both just like hoping the other person doesn't draw their combo hand first, which is very fun.
Do you want to have a guess at some of these matchups?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start from the bottom this time. I think Gravy is usually favored. However, Shamir is a very strong player. It's nice to see the Sigil guys. We haven't really seen them like in the data much. We had Chitu last week, who managed to secure their top 4. I think that was about it. We're seeing Jason and Shamir now. So I guess hero-wise, I would give it to Gravy, but I think with the player caliber of Shamir, I'm going to give it to them. I will just pick Ed as the Acilio because he has higher seed, and I think it's like it doesn't really matter. I could coin flip that. I think Huntsman should beat Dio generally. It does depend on how things line up. Obviously, the Dio can maybe like squeeze in a good turn, a Maxi or two, depends on if they're on a Maxi version. I'd assume on average that they are. But I think Huntsman usually has the tools to like fatigue quite easily most Dios. If James manages to do it, then big ups to him. That's a good achievement. And then I think in the Guardian mirror, I do think Pleiades should beat Jarl, especially if they're tempo focused. I do think that Sledge is very good. It's likely that they both play Sledge, but I do think the Pleiades deck has more resilience and more capacity to convert their deck damage over the Jarl. Turns out Pulverize is a pretty good card, especially when you can cast it 5 to 8 times.
Should we have a look? So all
correct. Look at that. Bosh. Nice.
Yeah, okay. Jack did mention that he wasn't really running any anti-fatigue tools, and he was just there to, like you say, I mean, if half the room is Dio, Syndra, aggro, then a mid-range Jarl is gonna prey on that quite well. So
yeah, for sure.
And yeah, as you must expect, I guess the outlier is Shamir beating Gravy, but I think with choice of side and if you've got experience in the matchup, which he does, because I think I think for the rest of the other ProQuest season he was playing Gravy, and for a few
he's had some Gravy experience, so he definitely understands it from that perspective. So playing against it is definitely a good tool to have for sure.
So the fatigue bracket and the Mario Acilio Kashi special bracket.
Yeah. If this was a tier 3 plus event, I would give it to the Acilio because they always high roll. And personally, as an Acilio player, I don't hate this matchup, but you are susceptible to both their damage and their disruption generally. I do think it's gotten better for the Marios as their list has been updated, and I think you have less cards to commit for the matchup. It depends on how many D-Rex and stuff you play as the Acilio. So, but I would give it to Shamir on average. And then in the fatigue bracket, I would give it to Pleiades. Turns out Hammer for 6 much better than Dagger for 2 and 1, even with Graven Call. I mean, it can be annoying, and there is a capacity for you to lose. There are lose conditions for you as the Pleiades. But I do think on average, Sledge is just too strong of a weapon.
Yeah, both correct again. Yeah. Kind of going as expected, I think.
Yeah.
The extra prevention and rampart is kind of good. I don't. Graven Call doesn't have.
Piercing. I don't believe that one has piercing.
Yeah, so
do actually.
Letting us.
I think that's right. You play Sledge, so it doesn't matter. You don't.
Oh yeah. Of course. So the rampart doesn't matter.
So it doesn't really matter.
So Fatigue, Pleiades, and Mario, both Sigil members.
So they said, I say they, the American players that did well. Their interpretation of the matchup is that it's really good. They're very free for the Pleiades, I think, unless they can tech for it. I do think that with Mario's having it on the radar, it's possible that they would tech for it. How they tech for it, dependent on the person. But I think if I was to in a vacuum choose, I would personally give it to Pleiades because I haven't seen a reason to choose Mario yet. I mean, all my all that I've seen is that the Pleiades deck seems to do quite well into the Mario deck. even with them, being ready for fatigue. So
Shamir got there.
Shamir, okay, great,
as I kind of mentioned slightly earlier, like I did play this matchup this weekend, and I ended the game with him with Noah. He had about 10 cards left, not much, but I still had a Fate and a Staunch in my deck, so it kind of alludes to like earlier styles of like aggro into fatigue, where he kind of can push enough damage to keep you off like setting up. Like it's not like a case of like, oh, I don't need to use my D-React this turn. It's very much like if you don't use your stuff tempo wise, like they will just kind of run you over.
Capitalize on.
And I think it's definitely a matchup where the more you play, the more you'll get used to like the play patterns, and maybe like I don't think I blocked enough. Like I definitely had more cards left in my deck, and I probably could have blocked some daggers for one earlier in the game and stuff. So yeah. But well done to Shamir. I'm not sure if he opened the gold foil.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That might have been my lack of asking, to be fair.
Westy moment.
Yeah, but let's say he left it sealed. Then I'm not wrong.
Wherever you viewer think that the gold foils, it was that one. Good time Jafo, never Kadachi.
Never.
Galvanic Bender once again.
So the last event on Saturday was Dice Cup. Yeah, I was at this one.
This is one you were at.
Yeah, I was playing. Because I was already queued. I was like, I'll play the ladies deck, see what it's like, and was. I think the meta spread was pretty expected at this event. Only knowing because I knew a Betsy was coming. And then another Betsy was there.
I knew, two Betsies.
Two Betsies. One on a very honourable build, shall we say, and one on a very non-honourable build.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, I believe I know the two people and they are friends. The honourable Betsy that you mentioned was the one that won a Pro Quest in the last season.
Yeah.
And then the other one, the boring fatigue one, was Tim McCarthy, Nats top 8 on Prism. I decided to play Betsy fatigue today. He kept messaging me, being like, "Mr. Bob Nanos-san, please, can I have these cards? Please, can you give me these fatigue cards?" So half of his deck was supplied by me. I'm glad that he could live his best life.
Yeah, he was definitely living his best life at the bottom tables. I'll say that. But he enjoyed himself, so that's all that really bad. But yeah, a smattering of twos and one-offs, which I think was to be expected.
We hit the KO quota, and then 6 Marios. We're starting to get to a point where like 6 Marios seems to be a norm.
Maybe 6 Mario is the quota now.
Well, I don't know, because we've definitely had less than that for a few of them. But like, it seems like in these big events, we're getting a lot of Marios. Mario is consistently one of the top decks, if not the top deck, which makes a lot of sense based on the kind of data we're seeing. Although, in a similar sense, we're kind of in an opposite sense, I suppose. We're seeing like 1 Verdans here. In Darksphere, we saw 1 Verdans as well, and like 2 Verdans. So like, there's no Earth representation in the UK really in comparison to the world, which is an interesting like.
It's a very interesting metric to look at.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, should we look at top 8? So first seed, the one-off Gravy of.
I know Karan has been a consistent Gravy player for as far as seen that most of what I've seen of him has been on Gravy, so clearly translating well in terms of conversion. That was the word I was looking for. And Ben, previous Bristol player, now moved to Manchester, so he's one of our locals. I also lent him cards, so most of his equipment was mine, which is good. I'm glad that my equipment has some top 8s, more top 8s than me this season. The 1 Verdans here as well, so clearly, even though these decks aren't seeing the showing that the data would imply they're still doing well, which might suggest that even if like these heroes aren't having a great representation, the power of them is kind of carrying them into these top 8s, these top 4s, even these maybe wins that we're seeing. So.
Yeah. And then 3 Marios converting out of the 6. So clearly just, pushing this narrative.
Conversions. Yeah.
This deck is pretty good. And then one Kasai down at the bottom, which is good to see because I think the Warriors have kind of, especially in Kasai, has fallen by the wayside.
Yeah.
There was this resurgence when the start of Road to Nationals started that maybe Kasai was really good again. And we saw some good performances. I think it was mentioned by Liam Holden last week that Kasai kind of started the season very highly because of some cooling results, and then it's kind of fallen off, unfortunately.
I think like Kasai's real strength was its gravy matchup, but I think Fang also has a really good gravy matchup, but also has a better matchup into everyone else. So it's like, why play Kasai? Yeah.
Well, to mention that, top of the bracket, Fang gravy.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think Fang should beat gravy most of the time. So I do think Fang should win that. The Mario Verdance matchup, I think, is generally Mario favored. It's one of the things you don't really want to see as Verdance, but you do. You have games still. You just it's something that you rarely get. You didn't really get online even prior to the root bound ban. So like, it's not. It's a game of pure like tempo, and now you can't go D-react into felling, so your first felling is not very good, or your plow under, and like you don't really want to be sending vanilla 8s at them either because they don't really care about that, especially if it's in the early game. So it does feel like it's gotten a lot better for Mario as well. I suppose for the next one, I would give it to Mario again over Acilio, as mentioned previously. Not a matchup that it's not like a bad matchup for Acilio, but not necessarily a good one either. So one that I would say is favored more for Mario traditionally. And then also in the bottom bracket, I think Mario just does what Kasai does, but better, really. So I do think that they probably won there as well.
Yeah. Well, you nearly got 4 for 4, but
I mean,
Verdance beat
that
Mario.
makes sense. Yeah, I could see that happening, especially like Storm's Riders is powerful. You can get to points where that becomes a bit of an issue. So it does depend on how the game went, but yeah, so that makes sense to me.
So we've got Fang Verdance and a Mario Mirror, which is
so. I'm going to give the Mario Mirror to Noah Hicks just because he's our boy. Big ups to Noah, and this is his home turf. His dad actually,
his dad owns the store,
owner of the store. So clearly, Seto Kaibering his way into top 4 and maybe into winning the event. And then on the opposite end, Verdance is not something you want to see as Fang. Compared to Florian, is much worse. One of the main reasons for that is the inclusion of the card Scour. Not very good for you when you're trying to build up fealty.
No, not at
absolutely all. Clear it whenever you want. But hopefully, if they don't see that, then it can be quite good for the Fang. Depends on how quickly they can get online as well. But I think I would give that to the dance.
Yep. Ben found a way apparently, and
good for him. That's wonderful.
Didn't get scoured out of the game. And Noah defending his home turf in the mirror. So we've got Fang and Mario.
So my feelings on this are different to all the Mario players, but that's just because I say all the Mario players. Kashi feels that this matchup is really good for Mario. I personally feel like it's really good for Fang. I think Fang does a very similar thing in terms of damage to Mario. I think one of the benefits of playing Mario is stuff like Tarantula Toxin and your Kiss of Death turns, which are very strong. But you do have to pitch your daggers still, which Fang doesn't have to do eventually. It's again the game kind of transitions to a point where the point before you get online, that kind of like quest point is really where most of the important stuff happens.
Yeah.
Where like the sooner you can do that, the more value you can accrue over the game. Also, like Overcrowded is one of the best cards in the Fang deck already, just because of how many tokens you produce. So having it for this matchup is really strong as well. Similarly, cut from the same cloth is one of the few decks outside of Mario that can play cut from the same cloth, and there's a very powerful card in this deck. And you also have the specific bullet card of Hunt to the Ends of Wraith, which is specifically really good in this matchup as well.
Yeah.
So I would give it to the fan.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Ben did beat the matchup and prove Cashy right.
Now I have data to back up my point, so I'm going to be insufferable about it. So, yeah.
But yeah, I think it, like you say, it does matter a lot. I think about that early game mini game of if you can make 2 fealty on turn 1, you kind of are just at the races really with all your 3 blocks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Again, I don't even actually know what the gold foil was. Did he open this one?
I should ask him. Honestly, I didn't. I realized I didn't ask him.
I'll put it on the screen for the people at home.
Yeah.
And we'll. Terrible this week. So we move on to Sunday. So this is the event that you said you went to.
I did.
Playing Patriot. Good story in Sheffield. I wonder if you were. What were you playing at this event?
I was tough nutting once again.
Yeah. So 5 KO. So over quoting. So making up for the 3 KO at the last event. So we're back.
It all balances out. So I guess that means that it's been 4 now, isn't it? In everyone, if you average it out. 6 Mario once again, another one. 5 Asilio, quite high. This I think was the most is the room that was most indicative of a general meta I've ever seen in the UK, at least so far. Like when you look at the top
I think so.
10 heroes, all of them would be what I would expect to be like the top percentage for like a calling or something like that. Not to say anything about the bottom smatterings like the River Plate, absolute
Puffin
moron, really. Yeah. Oh well, the Puffin I know for a fact actually did quite well. So shout out to Cody.
You're sweating, worrying about eating a card.
Well, no, it's okay because I made the stipulation that I don't think Puffin could ever win like an event or top 8 any of the important ones. But I did make the stipulation that RTNs don't count, so I've to dodge that one. But this is really interesting actually in terms of top 4s because even though the amount of like top decks is like represented well, the top 8 for this one is actually quite like. Is more so in favor of the smaller decks, like the one-of decks generally, which I think is quite interesting.
Yeah. Should we look at that? So like we can see Puffin, Valda, KO, Katsu, sorry.
8 different decks as well. Yeah.
It's very good to see. And obviously Karan converting again to another top 8 on Gravy. And friend of the show, Scott, Howling Mines.
Mr. Mines, Howling Mines.
Got to get out to play another event, which was good to see.
He was worried about qualifying for nationals, but I think with this top 8 and the subsequent wins that he's gotten through everything, he should be more than fine.
Yeah, it's good to see.
Maybe a bit of a spoiler for the top 8, but I was there, so we don't really need to go guessing. But obviously, if anyone cares about my Tough Nut adventures as they continue, I went 3-3. So yet to have a negative record on this hero, consistently doing medium minus, which is I think a 3-3 on Tough Nut is about the same as winning this event in my opinion. So doing quite well as far as things are concerned.
I heard the rundown of your you played against the Fatigue Pleiades, and I gave Chris the deck because he wanted to play something different. And then he pairs into Tough Nut. And then after he sent me the message, I was like, Tough Nut doesn't sound like a good matchup, to be fair. A deck that makes a toughness to then block your weapon and then could swing 7 unpreventable.
It's like that explains a lot about his list because I was like, this doesn't look like the normal list.
No,
I know he got it from Ian. So shout out to Ian for his very blinged out Pleiades deck. That thing is beautiful.
Yeah,
he's even got the Anawahi Pleiades as well.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw cries of Encore and Pummel, I was like, this looks like a George Roger pile more than it does a normal Fatigue.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was actually maybe worse for me. But yeah, that was a really fun game. We had a good time. Nice to play Chris. Never played him before, but I've seen him around. Lovely person to play. But yeah, I basically went X and meta. So yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Should we move on to the top? Yeah, we can move on to the top 4 and maybe talk about because you're obviously
absolutely.
And maybe talk about the matchups that kind of happened. And so I think it's good to look at. I think Mario beating Verdance was kind of expected. We talked about kind of the variance of that matchup, and
especially with both players like at the caliber they are. Like I imagine you're just about to allude to. Rob Catton, obviously very well esteemed player in the UK. Member of Table 1, very good showings nowadays. Scout Howling Minds, of course, well known in both the UK and the world now. But when he's not showing his prowess in casting, he is also a very strong player. Pran and Ash, that was an interesting game. I do think that Ash saw the kind of bad side of variance in terms of the gravy deck was very like hit all of this disruption into him, got him to like 1 or 2, and the gravy was at like 21 life, and then he almost actually ended up still winning that game even with the gravy having 2 bells out. He only needed to top deck one of his shocks, but he was quite low on shocks at that point in the game, so it was still very close. But yeah, also the Cody Fraser game was also a really fun one to watch for a Puffin. It was a good showing, all things considered, especially because I wouldn't consider Syndra to be one of your best matchups, really.
No.
If we go into the top 4, while I would normally say that Gravy is like very favored into Mario, I do know that Rob was quite confident going into this match, and he was. And like as far as caliber of players, in a similar sense to the Shimei matchup before, I do think that like that matchup knowledge does help a lot in those kind of games. So I do think that helped him to win. So he won that one, and I think Valda was too hard for Syndra to beat. A very interesting match there. I'm not sure. I left before I got these games finished. I left as the top 4 kind of started, but it makes sense to me that Valda would win that game with the amount that like Syndra draws a decent amount still now, and I think the fact that Baldur capitalized on that, and if they were able to see a ley line early and like start building up the seismic surges, the value there is kind of like overpowers the value that Syndra has over the long course of a game.
Yeah. And then we had a final of Mario and Valda.
Yeah, I definitely think like that seemed Mario favored of the Guardians. That one seems like the one that Mario can abuse the most, as they seem to be more like base action speed value, and not in a way that's like over encumbersome like a Victor. So it makes sense to me that Mario would win, especially someone as caliber as Rob. Although still not to the caliber of his wife.
Of course
Lila, who is still the best kind, I think, statistically.
at least. Even if she isn't, she is in the meta reports' eyes. I just wanted to quickly give a shout out to Ty on Valda. He had a good showing at Birmingham that I was judging. It was his local store, and he was playing Valda then. And we had a little debrief after the event because they've got a ProQuest as well, and I was like, "Oh, did you need a judge for this?" and blah blah blah. And he said he might judge because he's he doesn't consider himself a very good player, and he could probably judge because it's like his local event. And then I sent him a very sarky message yesterday saying, "Oh, clearly that wasn't true," and well done for qualifying. So yeah, he's a very nice gentleman, and he's always great to talk to. So well done. Even though you didn't quite get there, still very good showing. I believe Rob opened beaten trackers, so good sage staple for the gold foil. So quite good pull. And then the final event on Sunday, which was unfortunately quite a low showing, down in Darkstar in Plymouth. Plymouth is a bit of an extremity of the UK. And it's quite hard to get to from the base kind of central part of like the southeast and London and stuff. but normally they do get some pull from kind of Bristol and Poole. So it was unfortunate that they clearly the showing. Maybe the Bristol lot had had enough after their 50 player event and didn't quite get the time to get down there. But yeah, it's unfortunate. But it's a shame. I just like because they do run some really good events down there. Dark Star has been supporting the game for kind of like the last few years and has been running events consistently.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you get a chance to go to one of the events, I believe they have a ProQuest.
I think there's two in the area actually. I think there's another kind of well-known Sigilate Games started a store in Exeter.
Yes.
Which isn't too far from Plymouth. It's kind of in the middle between Poole and Plymouth, and they've also got one. So I think there's two down that area. So yeah, if you're in the kind of south west area, try and make it down. They run a good pricing, I believe. So I guess we'll quickly talk about this. Really, I think with 8 players, you kind of just run 3 rounds of Swiss. And
still one there though. Still a KO.
Still a KO. We still got the KO quote. It's probably proportionally about 4.
Yeah, about the same. Yeah,
I think
32 being the average. 4 KOs. 8, 1 in 8. That's
so we'll call this a win. We'll say 4 KO at every event. But say you go into this 8 player event.
Yeah.
Out of these 8 heroes or 7 heroes, sorry. What would you like to be?
I mean, like Syndra has double the amount of heroes compared to everyone else, so I would probably give it to them, especially with this spread of heroes. I do think that they probably have a decent matchup into almost all of them. Maybe not the Jarl, but I do think that the rest of them are quite good for you on average. So yeah, I would give it to a Syndra.
Yeah. So the final was the 2-2-0s after the first 2 rounds was James Banman on Syndra and then Marcus Archer on Kasai.
Right.
With James winning on Syndra.
Okay, yeah, nice.
So yeah, I think apart from the Jarl, I think you can win all of those matchups. Yep. So it's kind of fun. And then just a shout out to Nathan Eastwood and then Tom Evans. I believe Tom was on Syndra and Nathan Eastwood on KO. Both of them coming 3rd and 4th, going 2-1. So
okay,
coming qualifying for nationals. Both names I know actually from when I was living on the south coast. And really nice people. So it's good to see them qualifying for nationals.
Lovely.
And that was so we got the final week. So we finally draw to a close the RTN season, and then we've got a lot of data to produce for the last week, I think. To talk
final
about.
Week's gonna go crazy.
Go crazy. We got a special guest lined up. We won't reveal who yet. Who's gonna come on the show? But yeah, the final week we got, as mentioned earlier, Darksphere 2. So the second event there should be good. 40 plus players again, I imagine. Pro Tech up in Stockton. I don't know if you get up that far.
No, I will be. We would probably likely go there, but Welsh Pool is the same day, and that's usually one that the Manchester players get to frequent when we can. Lovely store, great owner, wonderful community. Very small.
He's very invested in Fab, isn't he? Yeah,
100%. He's very big into it. He plays himself, so a shout out to them. So try and go there when we can. It's also my birthday on this Saturday, so hopefully a birthday goal foil in my horizons. Maybe if I don't play Tough Nut, then I can actually say that's the case. But we'll see. The call to nut is a hard one to turn down. But yeah, if not, perhaps play these basically being a better version of Tough Nut. So we'll see.
There's literally 0 way that's not going to be clipped out of context. Anyway,
I hope it is.
We've also got one down on the south coast as well, Employment in Poole, another store that's been supporting the game really well. And then the final event of the whole weekend was the delayed Mox in the Hole event in Edinburgh.
Oh yes.
I imagine that's going to be a big turnout. Normally, Jamie
The
at Mox
Scottish
in the
contingent,
Hole puts on a good show, and
yeah,
he
100%.
has high entry prices, but he has high pricing. He's put a
Yeah.
few gold foils on the line that weren't supplied by
Oh,
LSS
okay.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I remember back in, I can't remember what, if it was an RTN or a ProQuest season, he had a door prize of a gold foil Goliath Gauntlet, I believe.
Oh wow, that's nice. Yeah,
So Jamie
that's
loves putting
definitely
on
like worth coming.
on
Yeah,
a big
for sure.
big event. I imagine that
Yeah,
would be quite a big one, and good to
yeah,
cap out the whole season with, I think.
yeah.
Just a note on the fact that the XP leaderboard for this week is updated. The link's in the description, so if you want to see where you are, the cutoff is looking like it will be 6 or 7 wins. More likely 6, but the tiebreaker is lifetime XP. So if you have an opportunity, go out and play this week. Get a few more wins. Don't worry about it. Like,
Get to that
don't
7.
if you're on that
Not
6,
that 6.
you don't want to be on the 6. You want to be on the 7, or the 8. 8 plus, and then you don't have to worry.
8 was what I was telling people prior to this week. Obviously, like as we go through the weeks, it's easier to scale that down. But I do think 7 it would be like comfortable, but not sure. Yeah. Just because you never know what's going to happen with when there's like a week of events, and it's like not just a small showing as well. We've got a decent amount of people and events on then.
Okay, well that's everything. Just some thank yous. Obviously, thank you, Liam, as always.
Thank you, Westy, as always.
And just a quick, obviously, a reminder. Thank you to all the judges or TOs that provide any information. Like, all the data is provided. Like, we don't have access to data without you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate everyone actually taking the time out to find these things on the systems and actually doing the breakdowns and everything. I know it can be hard, especially when you're running an event. It can be quite stressful to make sure that you're both doing that and also making sure everyone's having a great time. So it's always really appreciated.
Just a few names. Steve Roder. Was Seb judging at Patriot?
Yep, Seb was Patriot's judge.
Yeah, great. Thanks for Seb. Tobias at Sigilate Games, providing info, and Roy, who provided the stuff down in Plymouth, Insecurity, and then Jonathan from Dice Cup, obviously, as we mentioned, Noah's dad, ran TO and judged that event, which was great.
Always a great person to see and talk to.
Yeah, very invested with Fab. He judges bigger events, so it's great to know that there's a store that is invested in the running Fab events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then a quick plug, obviously, as always, if you need anything for singles, Thistle Tavern, great store. We'll have all of your stuff, and recently posted all of the new Sage decks that are coming out. Yeah. Your $20 access to the World Tour.
Your $20 ticket to the $1 million Pro Tour.
Said perfectly, just like James would want you to.
Crikey.
Anyway, thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Also, something that we always forget to do, which is important. Please like the video, subscribe.
We're so bad at this
notification
YouTube stuff,
bell,
aren't we?
Leave a comment.
Ding,
Please
ding.
leave a comment. We never get comments now.
If you got this far, write banana in the comment section.
Write tough nut.
We like 2 nuts. I see you next week, guys.